Hello everyone, my name is Rebecca. Let's talk about makeup. Today I am updating my 50 Shades of Black project pan, which was a fantastic ladies collab created by Jessica, Amanda, and CeCe. This is a year-long project where we roll 50 products in that have to do with the color black in some way. It started back on April 15th of last year and it is running until April 15th of this year. So we are, oh my gosh, I've got a hair. What was I saying? Okay. I have been a little AWOL on this project like everything else, but I do have a bunch of empties to show you. I have managed to complete several products and I have made progress on several others. And then at the end, we are going to roll in some new products. We're only 3 months out from the end date of this project. I didn't roll in all 50 products at the beginning of the project because that is very overwhelming for me, but I'm starting to regret that choice because I am so far behind on roll-ins right now. And I kind of think I'll be lucky if I manage to roll in 50 products by the end of the project, much less finish them. Just roll them in. Listen, we're going to do our best. So let's start with empties. The first empty we're going to talk about, I'm very excited about because I finished it yesterday. And this is the Sigma Eye Base pencil in the shade Earthen. We're all done. Do you hear that? I'm so glad that I finally managed to get this one done. This is a lovely eye base. I really enjoy it. This one is a little bit darker than my eyelid color, which can be nice because I can use it as a subtle one and done or just use it as a base to pat some shimmer over the top. It works really well like that, but I do think I'm going to go for a shade lighter in the next one I pick up. And I do intend to pick another one up because this was fantastic. For the Sigma pencil, when I first rolled it in, it was weighing 14.54 grams. It is now weighing 13.37 grams, so that's a total of 1.17 grams used over 57 uses. The next thing here is also very exciting because this was, until I finished it, the oldest product in my entire collection. Not counting like the stuff that I'm keeping for sentimental reasons. I'm talking about my active collection, things I'm actually putting on my face. So this is the Soap & Glory Kick-Ass Foundation in the shade 04. This is my second bottle of this foundation. I loved it so much, but it got discontinued by Soap & Glory a while ago, okay? And I was kind of hoarding this because I can't get any more. And it's one of the very few foundations that I don't have to mix before I put it on my face. I have a cool olive undertone, which means I'm mixing my foundations pretty much every day of my life. It was nice not to have to do that extra step when I was wearing this one. So it is gone. I am both happy and sad. She was getting pretty long in the tooth there, so she really did need to go, but I'm definitely going to miss this foundation. When I first rolled this foundation into the project, it was weighing 35.10 grams. It is now weighing 21 grams. That is a total of 14.1 grams used up. And that was over a total of 35 uses since I rolled it in. Next, I have a couple of skincare products. This is the Galactomyces 95 Tone Balancing Essence by CosRx. It had a pump here, but my son got a hold of it, and that's how that goes. This is where I was when we first rolled this into the project. This is where we were back in December, and now she is completely empty. As far as what I thought of this toner, it was fine. It was fine. I don't think it was anything special. I don't think it did anything revolutionary for my skin. So while it was nice enough to use, I don't think I would be in a hurry to repurchase that one. This one, on the other hand, this is the AHA BHA Clarifying Treatment Toner from CosRx. And I have gone through multiples of these. I love that it's a spray-on. I love me a spray-on toner. And I also really enjoy the very gentle chemical exfoliation this gives me. I have a combo oily skin type, and especially during the summer, I really struggle with congestion, and this really, really helps me with that. This is nice all year round, but especially in the summer, it's really helpful for me. So I'm definitely gonna have to replace this before the weather starts warming up. We started here back in June. This is where we were in December, and she is now empty. We have, was it 3 brow products? No, 2 brow products and a eyeliner that is kind of an empty. Let me explain about the liner. This is the Tarte Sex Kitten liner, and I rolled this in back in September. Almost immediately after I rolled this into the project, it came open in my makeup bag. I didn't realize until the next day, and by then it was too late. I used all my tricks trying to revive it, and I actually managed to get 11 uses out of this thing before finally it was not performing anymore. So I had to call it done at that point. So I didn't get nearly as much use out of this product as I would have had that not occurred. This was 6.41 grams when I rolled it in. It was 6.23 grams when it rolled out, which was a measly 0.18 grams of product. I'm going to go ahead and give myself half a point for that one. I also finished the AOA Slim Brow Pencil in the shade Black. I wasn't sure how much product was in here when I first rolled it in. It's not really the sort of thing you can roll up and down. I mean, you can, but you risk losing the whole thing because they're so fragile. Apparently there was not much. I'm not complaining because I need all the help I can get getting to completion on these products, but I only used it 9 times in this project before it was done. It started at 4.25 grams when I rolled it in, and it's 4.19 grams now. So that's 0.06 grams of product that I used up in this project. But you know what? A win is a win. I feel like for a project this big, you do need some gimme products. I also finished this brow gel from NYX. This makes me chuckle a little bit because I remember what my attitude was when I first rolled this into the project. At the time, I told you guys, I don't know why I bought it. I don't really use brow gel a lot. So here's hoping I can get it done. And not only did I finish this one, but I have finished a whole other brow gel that was not in this project since then. So the big difference was that since I rolled this in, I started laminating my brows, and that completely changes the brow game for me. When my brows are laminated, I feel like I use a lot less pencil, but a lot more gel, because what I'm able to do is comb my brow hairs in such a way that it fills in those gaps that I would otherwise be using pencil to fill in. So this actually came in very handy. Would I repurchase? Yes, I would probably repurchase this one. It was really very good. I like the applicator. It doses out a good amount of product, but not too much. My only gripe with this one is that the packaging is clear. And if you've used up a brow gel, you know this stuff gets real cloudy by the time you get to the end of it. And unfortunately, I can see all of it. I can see every single brow hair of mine that got caught in the comb and ended up inside here, which is kind of disgusting, honestly. So I wish the packaging was opaque, but as far as the product goes, this is really nice, and I would not mind repurchasing it again in the future. Those are my empties, which are a lot for one update, but not a ton when you measure it against the number of products that I have rolled into this project. But we're not going to worry about that right now. We're going to talk about the other products that I have been working on, the progress I have made, and then we will be rolling in a few new things. This is my caffeine eye cream from the Inky List. I have used this 16 times since September. I'm trying to see if I can force the air out of here so we can have a better picture of how much product is left. We're starting to get somewhere. We are almost there. I think the product is right about there. If I'm able to use it consistently, which is a big if, let's be honest, I might actually have this done by the next update. So that's exciting. This was weighing 16.65 grams back in September. It is now weighing 11.85 grams. And that was over that 16 uses. No, not 16. I totally miscounted that. This is 26 uses, which honestly, when you think that since September, that's not a ton of uses. But I have been really struggling with trying to be really consistent with my skincare. And so I have not reached for this as often as my tired eyes would appreciate. But we're going to do our best to get the rest of this finished by the next update. One that I am much more confident will be finished by the next update is my IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores Loose Setting Powder. This is, I think we might have 1 or 2 uses left in it. I've had to remove the sifter at this point. And this is all we've got left. I'm pretty confident I can manage that by the next update. My progress on this has been slow just because I have other powders that I prefer. I could have had this done much earlier had I just been a little more disciplined and finished it up, but I have been so enjoying my one size powder. I could have had this done in October, honestly. And yet here we are working on the last 3 uses, which I will 100% absolutely cross my heart have done by the next update. If you can hear my baby crying in the other room, you may be able to, especially if you're wearing headphones while you listen to this. She's okay. She's not injured. I think her father probably had to put her down in order to use his hands for something else. And she has strong feelings about that. The next thing on my list is the Sephora setting spray. This is another product that honestly could be done if I had just made myself use it. Although in my defense, I feel like a setting spray for me is a lot less necessary in the wintertime when my skin isn't quite as oily and I'm not experiencing as many of the longevity concerns that I do during the warmer months. So I have been using this, but I have been going through it slowly and using it when it kind of makes sense rather than just for the sake of using it up. So for that reason, I have only used it 6 times since September. That is a total of 25 uses in the project. It was weighing at 59.27 grams back in September, and it is now weighing 39.90 grams. This was 6.41 grams when I rolled it in. It was 6.23 grams when it rolled out, which was a measly 0.18 grams of product. Is that just 6 uses? That seems a little suspicious. I may have undercounted on this one because that's about 20 grams. Over 6 uses seems excessive. That might not be an accurate count. But either way, we don't have a ton left here, and so I think it's totally doable for me to get this done by the end of the project. The next one I have some progress on is the ABH contour stick in the shade Mink. This is my favorite contour product. It is not the most blendable contour I've ever used. It's not hard to blend by any means, but I have used others that are more creamy and easy to blend. But I do feel like this one has a lot of longevity, and it's not too gray, it's not too deep, it's just about perfect. I feel like this doesn't fade during the day the way some of those other more emollient products kind of can sometimes, at least on my skin. I know Anastasia now has a new contour, but honestly, I don't have any interest in it. I don't have a lot of confidence that I'm going to like the new one as much. So I actually, after I found out about the new contours, I very quickly went and got a backup of this one because we're getting pretty close. And once this is done, I'm going to want another one. And then I will have to go on a hunt and find another contour product that I enjoy as much as this one. I have tried several over the last 8 months or so, but so far I have not yet found anything that dethrones this one. Despite the fact that we are so close, I don't know if I can get this one done. A little bit goes a long way. I'm not using a ton of product every time I put this on my face, and I'm not contouring every day, so we're just gonna have to see how that one shakes out. I've used this 19 times since September, and that is a total of 30 uses in this project. It was weighing 33 grams even as of September and is now weighing 32.39 grams. So we're getting there, but we'll just have to see how that one goes. Next, I have my Natasha Denona Mini Eye Sculpt. This is the warm one, I guess, that came out back in 2024. I'm a little annoyed that she came out with a cool version. Had she released them at the same time, I 100% would have bought the cool version over this one. Cool tones in general just work better on me. But now that I have this one, I don't think it makes sense to buy the cool version. I don't think the differences in tone are significant enough for me to own both. I am happy to see she released a cool one. I wish she'd given me a heads up. Come on, Natasha. Someone give her my number. I am sure that's the only reason she didn't give me a heads up. In any case, I used this black one on the end here as my justification for rolling this entire palette in. And I rolled each shadow in this palette in as an individual product. Hey, I gotta get to 50 somehow, and this is helping me out. Or at least some of these shadows are helping me out. I had no illusions that I would be able to pan any of these by the end of the project. I am so slow panning eyeshadows. I am the slowest. I'm so slow that I decided not to do a pan that palette this year because I have tried 2 years in a row and I have failed both times. So I rolled these in with a usage goal of 30 uses a piece, and I'm a lot closer with some of them than I am with others. So we're gonna start over here. I have used this twice since September, and that totals out to 4 uses out of the 30 uses across the length of this project. I've used this twice, also bringing the count to 4 for this one, 4 out of 30 uses. I also used this twice, bringing my total count to 3 uses while in this project. I have used this one here 7 times since September, bringing it to a total of 20 uses out of 30 in this project. I may actually be able to get there on this one. Then I used this one 10 times, bringing the total to 28 uses out of 30. I just need 2 more uses on this one in order to call it complete. I need 10 more on this one in order to call it complete. And I need, 17, 16, and 16. So mixed bag here, to be honest. These 2 shades in particular are just very close to my skin tone, and so I haven't been reaching for them as much. This one, I feel like I would use this lighter shade so much more if it was more opaque. I don't find the pigment to be particularly impressive on this one, and I don't think that the intent for it was to be super pigmented. I think this is her newer formula that she debuted in this palette. It's supposed to be more of a blending shade to help blend out the darker colors, but for me and the way I do my makeup, I would have just preferred a very pigmented ivory color because I could use that in so many other ways. We'll see what we can do before the end of the project. The next thing we're talking about is my ABH Dip Brow I have started using the Dip Brow, you guys, and I have been really enjoying it. I picked it up because it was on sale and I was curious. Since I've been kind of revamping the way I do my brows over the last several months, I thought I would give this a try. And I actually really, really like this. I feel like with a really sharp angled brush, I have the ABH angled brush, which comes to an incredibly fine point. I'm able to get a very crisp, almost microbladed look in my brows, especially when they're laminated, and I have really been enjoying that. That's not what I have going on today, but I have managed to get quite a few uses out of this one. This was a later roll-in, and obviously I'm not getting through all this product. I don't know, maybe not in my life, but definitely not before April. So I rolled this one in for a usage goal as well. I think it's 30. I do kind of default to 30. Yes, so this is 30 uses, and I have used it 9 of 30 times. I actually rolled this in. Okay, this is going to be confusing. I actually rolled this in back in December. How, Rebecca, did you roll it in back in December when you didn't update in December? Well, I kind of did, but then I was unable to use the footage. Ugh. And I just didn't have the time to refilm it. So there is an unedited December update, probably still on my phone right now, that you will never see. But that's when we rolled this one in, and I have used it 9 times in the last month. So at that rate, we should be able to get to 30 uses by April 15th. So it was weighing at 47.94 grams when I first rolled it in, and it is currently at 47.71 grams. So not a ton of movement, but I use so little of this per use that, again, I don't think I'm ever going to get through this jar in my entire life. And the weight difference really isn't going to be significant even after the 30 uses. Next, I have my Huda Beauty lipstick in the shade Interview rolled into this project. This, along with all of the other products that we're going to be talking about, were rolled in December in that sad, ill-fated update that you never saw. But I rolled this one in for 30 uses. I have used it 12 of 30 times. I'm wearing it right now. This is my favorite lipstick right now. I have been wearing it with another product that is also rolled into this, which is the NYX Moonwalk Lip Liner. These two together, so nice. I love the way this looks. Even though I have another lipstick rolled into this project and a third one in another project, I do think I should be able to get through the 30 uses by the end of the project. Just really, really am loving that lipstick. I love the color, and it's also got a really, really nice, very long wearing matte formula that I don't find uncomfortable. So let's talk about the lip liner. This is NYX Moonwalk. This is from their Suede lip liner line. Ever since I picked it up, I just cannot put this thing down. It is just the perfect cool lip liner. Even on me, it shows up cool. And I do find that a lot of products that people say are cool end up looking more neutral on me rather than cool. This is a straight up cool liner. It goes with so many of the lipsticks that I own, and also I feel like has enabled me to use some of my lipsticks that pull a little warm on me by adding some of that coolness in. Just really been enjoying this one. So when I rolled it in back in December, it was weighing 4.05 grams. I have used it 13 times in the last month, and it is now at 3.75 grams. So that is 13 out of 30 uses. So I'm also pretty confident that we will get this one done in time as well. Next, I rolled in my brand new tube of the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Concealer. If you remember, I finished my last tube of this, I think at the end of 2024, and I spent most of 2025 using the Natasha Denona High Glam. But in December, I had some Sephora gift cards to burn, and I just really wanted this back in my life, and I have been loving having it back. I do like the Natasha Denona. That is a lovely concealer, but I like this one a little bit more. It's a little bit more self-setting. It's a little less prone to creasing on me than the Natasha is, but I do think part of that is my combo oily skin. I think if you have a drier skin, you're probably going to enjoy the Natasha better. This one's my baby though, and I'm so glad to have her back. So this was rolled in back in December as well for 30 uses. I have used this a total of 17 times. It came into the project at 37.71 grams. And it is now at 37.05 grams. So that is a good amount of product used over 17 uses. And I'm pretty sure we'll be able to get this one done as well. Then I have the Ilia Brow Gel. I have really been enjoying this one. I've kind of been using it in conjunction with another one. I've been using the NYX brow glue Crazy Lift, the one with the little pink silicone tip that you scrub through your eyebrows. I have been using both of them. I do like the Crazy Lift, and I actually like how easy it is to use that silicone applicator to make sure every single brow hair has product on it. But there are a few hairs that I feel like require a little bit more targeted sculpting to get them to lay where I want them to go, and I've been using the Ilia for that. I'll also use this on days where I'm just not doing a whole lot to my brows, and I'll just comb this through. It does have good hold, but I feel like this would probably be better for someone with less brow than I have. I don't have a ton of brow, but I do find that I get a little frustrated trying to get enough product out of this tube. So if this is what I'm using through my whole brow, I have to go back in to the tube several times in order to get the amount of product that I need to get everything to lay right and stay put. So while this has been useful to me, I don't think I would repurchase this in the future. I have used it 16 times over the last month, 16 out of 30 uses, and it was weighing 10.33 grams when I started, and it is now at 9.81 grams. So 16 uses is not bad for something that's only been rolled into the project for a month. So I'm pretty sure I'll be able to hit the mark on that one as well. My Benefit FanFest mascara, okay, you think I would have used this more times, but I have only used this 5 times over the last month, and that's because I have been wearing my little DIY lash extensions again, and when I'm wearing these, I just don't have a lot of use for mascara. This is a really good mascara though. I really enjoy this one. This is rolled in for 30 uses. Again, I've used it 5 times, and it started out at 24.18 grams, and it is now at 23.86 grams. So if I was someone that used mascara more, I would have rolled this one into finish, since we do have 3 months left. But since I'm not a daily mascara wearer, I am not sure that is practical for me. So we're going to shoot for 30 uses. So far, we're not doing amazing, but who knows what the next few months will bring. We'll see if I can get there. Next, I rolled in the Heroin Make Smooth Liquid Eyeliner. I think this is a Japanese brand, if I'm not mistaken. This has a brush tip. I love a good brush tip, although I just realized I've done that. Ugh. I'll have to go in and see if I can sort that out later. That is one of the dangers of a brush tip that you don't run into with a felt tip. I just find brush tips I feel like they're easier, and in a lot of instances I feel like they last longer because the felt tips tend to fray and wear out in a way the brush tips do not. I mean, unless you're careless like me and do something like this. So I should be able to sort that out, no problem. I don't think that's going to impact my ability to reach my 30 use goal, especially because I've already used it 17 times just in the last month. I rolled it in at 5.72 grams. It is now at 5.64 grams, which seems like such a tiny amount of progress, but obviously you're not using a whole lot of product when you're using a liquid eyeliner. So 17 uses out of 30 is pretty good. I perhaps could have been a little bit more ambitious with the goal when I was setting it, but when I rolled it in, I was very cognizant of the fact that it's a pretty late roll in for a year-long project, but it is what it is. We should be able to reach the goal by the end of the project. Next, I rolled in yet another brow product. This is the NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Pen in the shade black. If this is familiar, it's because I have the gray black Lift and Snatch already rolled into this project. I'm not talking about it today because I haven't made a ton of progress. But this one I have managed to use 10 times over the last month since I rolled it in. It came into the project at 7.76 grams and is now at 7.74 grams. Obviously, this is another one where you're not using a ton of product per use, so I don't think we're going to see the weight change a bunch. But I really enjoy this for drawing in a few little hair strokes there at the front of the brow. I can do the same thing with my Anastasia dip brow, but I do find that I prefer the dip brow when I have a little bit more time to do my brows. If I'm in a little bit more of a hurry, I will reach for this, or I will reach for one of my pencils. So it just depends on how much time I have to put into it on a given day. So I have managed to use it 10 of 30 times over the last month, which means I should be on track to meet my goal on this one by the end of the project as well. Last product I have to update you on, and honestly, I don't know if it's worth updating because I only used it 4 times, but we're going to talk about it anyway. This is the MAC Powder Kiss lipstick in the shade It's Personal. This is just such an interesting lip color to me. It is, honestly, it kind of looks like my contour there, just a little bit pinkier. Dare I add some here? This is an extremely, extremely nude color on my lips, but I feel like kind of the grayish pink almost helps keep it from looking like a straight up concealer lip. The way I have used this one mostly is layering it over other things to either decrease the saturation, just introduce a little more gray, or to lighten them a little bit. So that's how I've been using it so far, but honestly, it's not bad on its own either. I'm not mad at it. I was never a huge fan of the concealer lips trend, to be honest, and I lived through it. I was not a fan, but I actually don't mind this one. I don't know, maybe it's me, maybe my tastes are just evolving, I don't know, but I actually like this one a little bit more than I expected to. So it came into the project in December at 26.62 grams, and it is now at 26.46 grams after 4 uses. That's 4 out of 30 uses. My goal is 30 uses. So that's another one I'm going to have to hustle on if I want to finish it by the end of the project. Those are all the products I have to update you on. We are now going to roll in several more. I know this is very late in the project to be rolling things in. I really do want to try to beat my completion percentage from 50 Shades of Brown last year. I ended 50 Shades of Brown, I think, at 68% completion, and I really want to try to beat that number here. And in order to do that, we need to roll in a few more products. Most of these are going to be completion goals as well, but I do have some things I am going to try to finish within the next 3 months. So the first one here is one I am trying to finish completely, and it is the Huda Beauty Easy Blur Foundation. I have this in the shade 300N. I picked this up back in April, and it quickly just became one of my favorites. I have been reaching for this foundation along with one other more than anything else in my collection, and I just really enjoy this foundation. It just looks so lovely on the skin. It's got a great kind of creamy finish to it. It feels hydrating without going greasy on me, and it does last on my skin a fair amount of time. A little less so in the summertime, but right now in the winter, this is the perfect time for me to be wearing this. So I have this rolled in to finish. I don't know how much is in here. I can't see through the packaging. So it's just going to be a surprise to all of us whether or not I'm actually able to finish this by the end of the project. Then I am actually rolling in a couple more Huda Beauty products. I'm surprised at how many Huda products I have in here, but I'm going to be rolling in this. This is my Huda Beauty Matte and Metal Duo. There is a matte liquid shadow on this side and a really pretty shimmery gold one on this side. Now that my Sigma eye base is complete, I'm going to be using this as my eye primer underneath my eyeshadow. I have several of these in different colors, and for the more colorful ones, I'll use it more as like a first shade on my eyelids, but this one is pretty close to my skin color, so it will be just a primer basically. And then I should be able to use this really pretty gold shade here. I should be able to work that into a lot of eye looks. So I am rolling this in for 30 uses on either side. So I want to use the matte side 30 times, and I also want to use the shimmery side 30 times before the project is complete. The next thing we are rolling in is this little eyeshadow. Actually, this is a highlighter from Give Me Glow Cosmetics. It is in Pink Moscato Wasted. It is this really pretty, shifty, gold pink highlight. I do not use this as a highlight, although it is a very pretty color. I find the formula to be very thick as a highlighter. The highlighters I'm accustomed to are much thinner, but this is just, it feels, do you see that? It feels very much like a shimmery powder eyeshadow. And so that is kind of how I use it. I have been using it tapped over the lid, there in the inner corner. It makes a beautiful inner corner highlight. So I have been really enjoying this lately. So I'm going to go ahead and roll this into the project for 30 uses. I'm also rolling in my Innisfree Volcanic BHA Pore Cleansing Foam. This obviously it's not black. None of the lettering is black. It's all brown and tan, but I do really want to use this up. So what I did is I went to the ingredients list, and there is volcanic ash in this cleanser. So I'm using that as my excuse to roll this into 50 Shades of Black. If you think I'm cheating, I don't know, you can report me to the board, I guess, and they can take away my panning license. I think I have about half the tube left in here, maybe a little over half, and I'm going to try my best to get this done by April 15th. I'm not 100% confident on that one, but we're going to try. Okay, 3 more things that I'm rolling in. We are rolling in the NARS Translucent Crystal Under Eye Setting Powder. This is what it looks like. I was going through my powders and realized I hadn't picked this up for a while, and it is such a lovely, lovely under eye setting powder. I need to get more use out of it. So I'm rolling this one in for 30 uses as well. The last two are ones that I am trying to complete by the end of the project. The first one here is the Morphe Brow Pencil in the shade Black. I think I got this in an Ipsy. I have been really enjoying it. So this makes, honestly, quite a lot of brow products in this project. So this is what, my 5th brow product in this same project. So this might be a bad idea, but I'm gonna go ahead and roll this one in anyway. I do find that I go through brow pencils at a pretty steady rate, so I feel like I have a good chance there. But I am also using the Dip Brow, and I don't tend to use both at the same time, so we'll see how that plays out. Then I am also rolling in this NYX eyeliner. This is a black eyeliner. All of the text, I don't know exactly what the name is for it because all of the text has rubbed off. And we have this much product left. I think I can do that. I think that is doable within the next 3 months. I'm just gonna have to be a little bit more conscious about using it than I normally am. I'm more likely to reach for liquid eyeliner than I am a pencil liner, but especially when I'm wearing the DIY lash extensions, I really do like to do some tight lining on the upper waterline, and I do find that this is an excellent pencil for that. It really does lay down a good amount of pigment and it stays put. So I'm going to go ahead and try to finish this one completely by the end of the project. And that is it for 50 Shades of Black this month. Let me know in the comments below how likely you think I am to beat my 68% from last year. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.